Well, hey everybody, welcome to the Weekend Radio Show, and we have a special guest with us today, Miss Shenette.
Yes,
and yes,
I like how you pronounce it.
Good, good. So we're excited to talk about your new upcoming things. I know this young lady from Holy Girls Rock Purity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all I know her for. So this is very new to me. So explain to the Weekend what this new venture is all about.
So She Inspires,
Yeah.
really it derives from Shenette Inspires. We just sort of, put it together.
Great.
And it's just, I guess at this point, I would just say it's a new movement. My attempt to just encourage young women and, young ladies and women, I should say, whereas I've been definitely doing a lot over the last 6 years with teenagers.
Okay.
So, like you said,
yeah,
that's
true,
why from Holy Girls Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So, what's different so far that you've
Yes, what's
seen
different?
with branding a company? Well, I don't want to call it. It was a company, yeah. From now focusing on you're actually at the middle of this.
Right.
How is that different?
So with HGRP, Holy Girls Rock, it's a nonprofit.
Sure, that's
it's
what I
like you
wanted
said,
to
it's an organization, a lot of community outreach, so on and so forth. Which She Inspires, as I was telling you a little bit earlier, Stan, it's only like a month old. We're just sort of going
Super
with
young.
it. It sort of started because I wanted to get back into developing myself as a speaker, doing more speaking engagements. I used to do that years ago, and I was on a roll. So so this is why I even started this whole She Inspires. And so the difference would definitely be it's not a nonprofit, it's not necessarily community based, and also the major difference is focusing on women. Just because I'm going into a different part of my life, I'll be 35 next month.
Oh,
and
okay.
All right. Good.
and so it's just a different season in life, and things are different. Just everything is just different than obviously whenever I started with Holy Girls Rock. And so just really trying to focus in on women and the needs of a woman, especially the women of the faith, obviously, right? Yeah. And so inspiring women of the faith to continue with that, not giving up in the faith, not growing weary as the word tells us, because in due season, if they don't grow weary, which can be so difficult, if you don't grow weary, you will reap, in God's due season for you. So it's just a matter of just trying to encourage us. But, the thing that I thought about this morning is there are so many quote unquote movements, I guess we want to say, and young beautiful women who love the Lord, who are out there doing this. And so I'm just I guess you would say getting on the bandwagon in my own little way, and just trying to encourage those that I can reach.
Oh yeah, there's so much room out there too.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'm over here looking at your website and stuff. So you were Miss Florida International 2006?
Yes, I was.
Talk to us about that. What was that? You
mercy.
tried to hide this on the website. How was that experience?
Oh my goodness! Oh
And
my gosh,
threw
that
a
was so long
curve.
ago. How long ago? Oh my gosh!
Almost 11 years ago.
Oh, that's
Threw
horrifying.
that curveball at you.
Oh
How
my
was
goodness.
that?
Okay, so Miss Florida. Yeah. It was so long ago.
I know.
Like, I'm
Remember.
so
First
far
of all,
removed from
you-
it, but it was great. It was
You
great.
asked her a question about a pageant
I know.
that was 10 years ago. My goodness. I've done pageants myself, and that experience in itself is already difficult. But then to ask about it 10 years later, you're probably glad that it's just over. You don't do it
It's a
anymore.
lot of work because you're so right, Camille. It's so much work. Okay, it is so taxing. But for me, it was a great experience. It was actually my first pageant ever. I had never done pageantry before, and I just decided to go out for it, and I just so happened to become Miss Florida in that. And then you compete in the international system. It just so happened to be that it was in Chicago. So I went to Chicago by myself, and that was a whole nother experience. My bags were lost.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it was crazy. It was just a
Okay.
crazy experience. But it was fun. I was Miss Congeniality. I won Miss Congeniality and topped in I think I placed in the top 10, I think it was, but I didn't, win Miss International, but always the reigning Miss Florida International 2006. I mean,
Right. Wow.
That's
Gotcha.
crazy. But it was good.
That's pretty
Nah,
cool.
I
I didn't know that.
threw the curveball at you just to
Oh
give
my
people
goodness.
some
It's okay.
background on you. So what are you focusing on? What are your points in what you're trying to do with the new movement right now? What's pressing on your heart to make you make this move at this time in life?
Again, I just deriving from really wanting to get out there more with encouraging women. Hands down, I mean, it's really just about encouraging women wherever they are to keep moving, just not giving up, not giving in. And when I say that, I mean, I'm talking about not giving up in their mental capacity, because outside of this, I'm a mental health therapist.
Okay.
And so, you know, cognitively speaking, it's so important to encourage one another, as the Bible says, as we see this day approaching. But like, people are literally losing their minds. You know, women are having women particularly, obviously that's the focus. So women are literally having moments of, you know, losing their mind, just having struggles in their mind. They're at war in their mind, spiritually, mentally. The world is getting colder and colder. It's hard. You know, they say it's hard out there for a pimp. Child, it's hard out there for a woman, honey. Okay? It's just so hard out there. And so just trying to encourage women not to give up, you know, developing themselves, really discovering who you are, or who you want to be, or who you want to become, you know? Like, and that's okay. It's okay to be to be at a state in your life where you just don't know who you are, but making that confession and then stating, okay, but Lord, I'm ready to discover who I am. And that's a journey in of itself. Them not giving up on that journey of discovering who you are. What do you want to be? What do you want to put out there in the universe? You know what I'm saying? What do you want to put out there as a woman of God? Discovering that, doing that, and being okay with that. Like, accepting that I can make different choices and be okay with that. Like, not necessarily going against the grain. You know, some people, you know, sort of hone in on going against the grain. Not necessarily that, but just being in your own lane and staying in your lane, and walking in your lane extremely well.
Okay. So I'm clear. You're not giving up Holy Girls Rock Purity.
Oh, no. Okay, so yeah, let me backtrack. No, HGRP is still, we're still doing HGRP. Last year we did take, I'd say, a sabbatical from the rallies, because we did rallies for 5 years straight. I did cut it down a little bit this year, because again, when you come in a certain point in your life, you do realize it's important to know what to focus on, how to focus on it, right? And so I cut it down where we only have a certain amount of girls that we're trying to encourage, right? In service, I should say, because I always tell the ladies that help, we're really serving these girls, right? And so we cut it down to that, and really honing in on doing certain activities with them monthly, developing a curriculum for Holy Girls Rock. We're working on that. I actually go to Macon next week to meet with a couple of women, and we're just going to try to hone in on some curriculum for HGRP. And then we're sort of trying to decide if we're going to actually do a rally again this year. We were going to do it in DC, but I'm not sure if we're going to do that. I think we may actually take the girls to a rally that's in, or I don't know if they call it a rally. I think theirs is like a conference, but it's in Miami, and it's an all girls conference, you know, for young girls. And I'm almost thinking like that would be okay to do. Me take our girls there so they can experience something, and also it can encourage me, to, you know, maybe do something a little different. So we're still working on HGRP, and for me, because with HGRP I have a team of ladies that help and volunteer, but for me now I'm trying to hone in on She Inspires, you know, to again just to be able to share.
That's great. Now I heard a couple things when you were talking about you do, so outside of all this, you're a health mental
I'm a clinical mental health therapist.
So now how have you seen this balance of spirituality and scientific advancement?
That's such
and
a good question.
Because and then as an African American, then as an African American woman, because there's a thing going on right now that millennial African Americans or successful business African Americans are getting in there, and they're kind of leaving the church because it's like mom and dad didn't really have anything to show for it, you know. So, and I get that, but that depends to me on what kind of teaching mom and dad's under and where they go to church. But you know, but
what they were fed.
For the majority of them, that probably is the case. So how did you balance? How did you keep a foundation at the word as a foundation, and then starting from here and growing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would definitely go back to my parents.
Oh, okay.
So I was blessed because I had parents that the foundation was the word, right? So it wasn't any traditional anything. It wasn't, some hocus pocus, which some people, they put it all in the pot.
Yeah.
But my parents were, it's true, right? But for real.
Okay, yeah.
But my parents, I'm so thankful for them because it was about the word. What does God say about certain things, period. And yes, I did, I grew up in a church. I was blessed too because my bishop preached the word of God. And one thing he taught us when I was younger as a teen, and, even I hear him still say sometimes as an adult now, I hear him say, you have to read the word for yourself. Right. So it wasn't like we were going to a Bible study. You sit before the pastor, honey, you open the Bible, you read it, and you go home, and that's just it. No. He's like, we're going to read these scriptures, but you need to go back and read it for yourself so you know for yourself. Right. And so because I had that, as well as my parents, obviously, mainly my parents, and they were no nonsense when it came to Jesus. We're not, again, we're not traditional. We're not religious. That's what I want to say. That's what I'm getting to. So I feel like for those who have been in a household of religiosity where it's just a religious thing, you know what I'm saying? It's just a to-do. Right. It's not like, it's not a meaning, or should I say, it's not heartfelt, right? They don't have a reverence for the Lord, or if they don't understand repentance and really trying, because I think sometimes we forget as Christians, yes, we will fall short, what have you, but we have to repent and we have to move forward. You have to try to make some changes. You cannot continue to do the same stuff. Because if so, how does that separate us from the people of the world? Right. It doesn't. Right? Okay, and so for me, having that foundation, having parents that were serious about God, they weren't what do you call it? People who are like
taskmasters.
There you go. They weren't taskmasters. Right. Thank you. They weren't taskmasters, but they were serious about the Lord. They covered me in prayer consistently. They still to this day. Right. Yeah. And they told me what was right, and what was wrong was wrong. Right. Now, speaking of millennials, nowadays it's whatever you feel is right is right. And whatever you feel is wrong is wrong, right? There's that relativism. Yep. And I think that's penetrated in a lot of lives of millennials, but in a lot of churches. Hence, that's why you have a lot of millennials that, as you said, are leaving. Even those who've been in the faith for a long time are leaving. But the Bible says, you should expect that too, honey. Right. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So, as a therapist, to answer your question, as a therapist, I'm a community-based therapist. So I go in homes. I'm in the schools. Okay. I'm in the rural areas. I work all the way in Keystone. That's like past Orange Park, past Middleburg. Yep. So the population there is, they have some challenges. They really do. Like we have challenges here on the north side. Sure. It's like that there, but obviously in a different way. I don't. That's the most tasteful manner I can say.
It's
right?
different. No, it's different folk out there. You say that folk. It's different folk.
And and the challenges out there are it's horrifying, if I can be honest. So what I see when I go in and as a Christian, I see in the spirit with the spiritual lenses, I'm like, Lord, these people are oppressed, and it is a cycle. And we hear, especially growing up in church, we've heard a lot about generational curses. That thing is true. The Bible makes it clear it's true. But like when you see it yourself, and it's it's just hard because these people, their mindset is not woe is me. It's like, this is all we have, or this won't change. There's no quote unquote hope, I feel sometimes with some of them. So there is only medication. They have to have the meds. I hear that from the parents. No, they have to have. I'm like, no, we have to change the behavior. The way we change the behavior is us getting into the whys of what they're doing. The way we get into the whys of what they're doing is what's going on in the house, so on and so forth. So it's a lot of spiritual. I pray a lot for these people. Good, you know what I'm saying? But I do feel like, and I don't know if I'm answering your question quite, but I will say to you, when you mentioned about African Americans, I used to say to my clients when I first started as a therapist, they would come in, and I already knew, like, they were just like, first of all, I get that up and down look, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is this young girl? Because I definitely looked younger than what I was then. And so, you know, can you imagine being a parent, you know, 40 years old, whatever, you had these 2 kids, one of them is a hot mess for real, and one of them is just nasty and mean, whatever. And they come in, they sit down, they look at me like, what you gonna tell me? Right? And so the first thing I would say to them is, listen, I know that what goes on in the house, we're taught what stays in the house, right? Yeah. And as soon as I would say that, I felt like that always broke down some barriers for them. And I would explain to them, I understand that's an old adage, but to be honest with you, it's not going to work now. You know what I mean? There's nothing the matter with therapy because, you know, of course, the African-American community, oh, I'm not going that crazy person. You know, that's crazy. You crazy, whatever. No, you just need help just like the rest, just like the next person, right? And the only difference is that with the therapist, if you're a Christian, I should say, you know, what we're taught is you go to God. You know, you have your sisters and brothers in faith. You go to God. You work out these things. Right. But with having a therapist, you never know if your therapist is a Christian. Right. You know what I'm saying? So to just say no,
have your best interest.
Yeah, they may just have that best interest for you. So.
Wow. Great. Awesome. Fantastic. I mean, I wanted to give her a chance to, you know, to talk and hear people. So she's got a lot to say, you know. So if you're listening, you know what I'm saying?
That's what
that's what he's saying. Yeah, no, I'm saying she's got a lot to say. So you need to book her. You know, I'm just like, you know, because it's not just you know, somebody that's unstable or frivolous. You gotta give people, you know, a chance to talk so they can.
You got experience in the education.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I do have another question. Though. I do want to know, at what point in your life you decided to take this route in your life? What was it like? Okay, Shenette, this is what you need to be doing. You need to be reaching out to these young girls. You need to be reaching out to these women. What was that thing?
You mean what was the cumulative? Because, honey, it was a lot of stuff. I'm talking about, like, no, I'm joking. Okay, so you mean as far as the girls, or you just mean just trying to encourage
people in general? Because I see that over. I mean, because you did pageants. Okay, pageants as reigning pageant queens, you have a duty to serve people. Sure. You was a Jaguar cheerleader. I was a cheerleader. As a cheerleader, you have a duty to serve the people. Right. So when was it you decided that, okay, I know that I am supposed to be serving people, encouraging people? When did you know that?
If I can be honest with you, Camille, it just sort of fell in my lap. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's with a lot of things in my life. I'll be honest with you. It's not like I just I've sat down and come up with stuff. With Holy Girls Rock, that just literally came because I was I took a year off of cheering so I could finish my master's degree in mental health, right? Okay. And so while I was taking that break, I was like, man, I don't know what happened. It was God. But he told me, you know, to put this rally on, and how Holy Girls Rock came about, I don't even remember. I just remember I remember HGR, Holy Girls Rock, and then I remember Purity, and then he gave me an acronym of publicly unwavering righteousness in today's youth. And so it's just like one step after another, and I can't account for anything, even with the pageants, honey. I told you I never even wanted to do them, seriously. And it just, this lady came up to me, she's like, you'd be real good for pageants, because she and I used to we were doing a tour. What was it called? Great to Wait tour. So we were going to different cities in Florida for, like, I think it was a 3-month span, and we were going and speaking to, like, massive amounts of teenagers. It was crazy, and we were talking about abstinence, and that all derived because I used to work for an organization and that was teaching abstinence. And so, and she happened to be there, and she was like, you'd be great. And I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah. And then she gives me the information, and I look into it, and then boom, I was Miss Florida. Even when I got into grad school, I didn't even know I was in. I went to Starbucks with the interim director. She was like, so what's your plan with you cheering and being in school? I said, if I get into the program, then I'll just cheer, do practices Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then take school Mondays and Wednesdays. She was like, no, not if. You're in the program. I just want to know what your schedule was. So it's stuff like that that has happened to me. Okay. Sure. So I can't really take account for any of it. It's been the favor. That's what I should just tell y'all. Yeah. Honestly, it's just been the favor of the Lord with everything. Awesome. And I've just said, okay. I just didn't fight the stuff. I guess that's what I should say to you, Camille. Like, it's all just come. and I haven't fought it.
Okay.
I've been like, okay, what are you talking about? And then he just give it to me more and more and more. And that's what's happened.
Okay.
That's what happened.
That's great. Awesome.
How do we get in contact with you? How can people talk to you, follow you, book you? This is promo time.
Well, they can go to.
Right.
She's looking at her team
I'm
right
looking
now.
back here. You can go to Shenette Inspires at gmail.com.
Uh-huh.
That's for booking.
Uh-huh.
And you can go to She Inspires on both Facebook and Instagram.
This is why it's good to have a team with you.
Yes.
Keep
Shout out to
show.
Chantel Hatton. Oh, and my best friend's in the building, Joanne Yuri.
She got these glasses on and she is killing the game right
Killing
now.
the
Wish y'all
game.
could see.
That's so cute.
Killing
Awesome.
When I saw her yesterday, I was like, sister. We call each other sister. We never say our names. We call each other sister later. So I was like, sister, I love your glasses. I was like, wait, are they like prescription? She's like, are they sister? Yes, they are. But the
They're
little
cute.
thing, isn't that
chain on
cute?
the thing.
Dang, dog.
Child,
Wow.
that thing. She's a mess. I met her in college, actually. We've been best friends since
great.
college
Oh,
at
wow, that's
UCF.
awesome.
Good.
Okay.
Legit.
Anyway.
All right, cool.
All right, well.
Well, thank you for being with us,
Yes,
and I hope
absolutely.
everyone could be able to reach out to this vessel that God is using. It's really good to
Yes.
see what God is doing
Thank you
through
guys so much.
African American women and just women,
Yes,
period.
women,
Right
Yeah.
now,
period,
it'll
yes.
be interesting to see the next 5 years. I think what
Yeah.
God will do. So please reach out. We love everybody for listening. Of
Mhm.
course, this is the Weekend Radio Show with Stan Jr.
Camille Joy.
And King Chad.
We are the Weekend Radio.